I love a faves and fails video, don't you? Well, in this video, I'm going to combine faves, fails and empties. Oh, and a bit of decluttering as well. Now, my last faves and fails was in early November, so we've only got a couple of months worth of products here to talk about. But because I'm going to be in France in less than 2 weeks now, I wanted to get this video out before I go because I'm going to be there for a month, so I'm not going to be back till mid-Feb. And then, of course, I've got to get back into my routine, although I will be filming while I'm away, so there will be videos coming out in that month that I'm away. But I just wanted to get this one done because otherwise I could make a video that will last all day. And nobody wants that. So we've got skincare, makeup, fashion, homewares, entertainment and content creators. Although I suppose content creators are entertainment. And I'm even going to mention Mr. Beast. So sit back and relax, or pop me on while you're doing the dusting or putting on your makeup, and let's get started. Hello and welcome, or welcome back. So we're going to start with skincare and empties in particular, and the first empty to mention is the Bioma Sensitive Skin Body Wash, and I have talked about this before on my channel. I'm now into my second bottle. I absolutely love this for so many reasons. The first is it's unfragranced, which is really important to me as I'm sensitive to fragrance. I get really bad seborrheic dermatitis if I come into contact, particularly regular contact with a fragranced product, so we don't want that. So this is a really great product. It comes in a nice big bottle. It's really easy to put into my shower tray, and I don't need to even lift it out when I'm using it. I can literally just pump out the product. In fact, let's see if there's any left. No, the only little bit I can see is this tiny little blob on the end, which is now hardened, but it is a really great product. It doesn't leave a residue on my skin. It cleanses me. It has no fragrance, which is ideal for me, even though I love a fragrance, but I just don't want it on my body. And I just think it's an all-round great, well-priced, affordable product, which you can buy from Amazon. Now, the next empty I have is the Ameliorate Transforming Body Lotion. And again, I think I've mentioned this on my channel before. Again, unfragranced, a really great body lotion. I am a bit bad about using body lotions because my skin on my body isn't that dry. It never has been. I mean, yes, my feet have been a bit grot, but honestly, I've never had a real problem with flaking dry skin. But I do get a bit of dry skin on my shins and on the soles of my feet. And this, I think, from memory, because I did get the Dermatology body lotion, which my lovely friend Cindy of Beyond 50 Skin, and I think Tamara of Tamara's Timeless Beauty, another lovely friend, both recommended. And I did order Dermatology from the States, but it's a bit of a hoo-ha ordering from the States when you're in the UK. And I think this is a really good equivalent of that Dermatology. I think it's probably around the same price, maybe a little bit cheaper. This is Nadine Baggett's favourite. If you don't know Nadine Baggett, she's a British beauty journalist who's been around for a very long time. She's in her 60s, and she first put me onto this, and it really is an excellent product, and I have repurchased it. Now, the next empty is what I use as my second cleanse, and it's the Cetaphil or Cetaphil Gentle Skin Cleanser, this one here. It's really excellent, very reasonably priced. Again, I really love a pump because I'm lazy. I don't really want to pick the bottle up when I'm cleansing, so I literally just leave it on the side of my sink, pump. Let's see if there's anything in. I don't think there is again. Oh yes, there's a tiny bit, and you can see it's a gel cleanser really that emulsifies on contact with water. It's unfragranced. It really does take off all the rest of the makeup that might be left after my first cleanse. Then I just rinse it off, and then I rinse my face, and I'm ready to apply my serums or whatever it is I'm going to put on at night. And I really do love it. And if I needed to cleanse my skin in the morning, I could also use this for a quick cleanse in the morning, but I tend not to cleanse my face in the morning, but if I really wanted to, then I would use this. And talking of cleansers, this little bottle is by Suku, and it is their Hinoki Oil Cleanser, and this little bottle has got me into oil cleansers in a big way. Now, I got this free, I think it was at the beginning of this year or maybe towards the end of last year when I ordered a Suku foundation. And in fact, I ordered a couple of things. I think maybe it was a concealer and a foundation as well. Maybe it was just a concealer. Anyway, whatever it was, stop waffling, Des. I got sent this and it sat on my counter for quite some time because I haven't used an oil cleanser for ages, although I used to use them years ago and loved them. In fact, I think my favourite was the, oh, what's it called, that brand? Not Sudoku. Oh, I can't remember the name of the brand. It sounds like Sudoku, but it's not Sudoku. It begins with an S. Anyway, it's the Japanese brand and I loved it. I'll put it on the screen. Oh, and by the way, I meant to say all the products I talk about today will be in the description box below and in a pinned comment for ease of use. Shiseido, that's it, not Sudoku. Shiseido, that's the brand. And I used to use their facial cleansing oil and I loved it. So I thought I would try this given it was free, and I have really got back into using oils. I absolutely love them. I find them so good for getting off all the makeup, including my mascara, because I do have to be really careful. For those of you who haven't seen my channel before, I had an eye operation about 16, 17 months ago. And I had to have stitches under my eye here because I had a condition called entropion where my bottom lid turned inwards, and so I do have to be quite gentle when I'm removing my eye makeup, and this oil and subsequent oils that I've bought have been really good, but really enjoyed using this oil but won't repurchase just because it's too expensive. Now finally, the last cleanser that I've used up is the Caroline Hirons Skin Rocks The Cream Cleanser, this one here. Now, I was in Liberty's a few months ago and I didn't realise that Caroline Hirons' brand, Skin Rocks, had a concession in Liberty's, but they did. So I thought, okay, let's give it a go. I went to the counter, had a chat with the sales assistant and she said, try this. So I thought I would. Now, I have to say I was quite underwhelmed by it. It was okay, it wasn't particularly fab, it didn't do anything that other cream cleansers haven't, and it's quite pricey as well. I think it's about £30. There's a tiny bit left, I think. Yep, so you can see it is very much a cream cleanser and it feels nice on the skin. It feels quite luxurious and comfortable, but did it get my eye makeup off fantastically well? No, it didn't. It really didn't. And actually the sales assistant did say it would, but I was quite disappointed about that because it didn't do that. I also bought these cloths that she sells, which are basically a flannel, and they come in a pack of 3. But again, you can buy a flannel much cheaper than this. So I have to say I was quite underwhelmed by the cleanser, and the flannel was just a flannel. I think I just bought into it. This always happens to me. Every time I go to Liberty's, I always buy more than I mean to and spend more than I mean to. It's that kind of store, even though I do love it. But I could have walked away and said no, but I thought I would give it a go, and I thought I'd try the flannels in case they have some magic property that other flannels don't, but they don't. They look quite nice, but to be honest, I don't usually use them. I tend to use a microfiber cloth instead. So I won't be repurchasing the Skin Rocks cream cleanser. Now I've got a couple of moisturisers that I've finished, and one is the Cetaphil Daily Moisturising Lotion, which I was using in the summer and I have just about finished it, but I need something very slightly heavier as a moisturiser, I've found, in the winter. So I probably won't repurchase this for now. I might in the summer, but not for now. But it is a really good light moisturiser, unfragranced and comfortable to wear. But I also really loved this Purito Wonderleaf Centella cream. And I was using this at night, either to put over my tretinoin or just on its own. But I've run out and I haven't repurchased it, but I'll tell you why in a moment. Although I really love it and I probably would at some point, but at the moment I seem to be okay using just a regular moisturiser, a good one, over my tretinoin. I don't feel the need to repurchase this right now. I think this also helped me over a difficult patch when my skin was really bad and I probably compromised my skin barrier quite badly. But now that it's calmed down, I don't feel the need to repurchase this, but I do recommend it. If your skin is on the sore side, if it's dry, I think this is a wonderful product and I really enjoyed using it. I've also used up 3 sunscreens over the past few months. The Paula's Choice, which I've talked about many times on my channel, it's SPF 50. The Beauty of Joseon Rice, it's one of those long names, it's got rice in the title. Anyway, another great SPF, I think it's +++, but I will of course put all the details down below for you. Again, a really good SPF. And then the CeraVe, it calls itself the facial moisturising lotion, but it is SPF 30, I think this one is. I don't know whether I'd rush out to buy this one again, actually. I'm more leaning towards the Korean ones. I really like them. There's something about them. They feel a bit more luxurious, even though they're not very expensive. I think the CeraVe probably is a little bit cheaper, but I am definitely a fan of the Korean product, so I'm probably going to repurchase a Korean one or the Paula's Choice. I do love the Paula's Choice products as well, so I might be resting the CeraVe for now. But it is a good, reasonably priced SPF if you are looking for one. And one hair care product, just one, which I have mentioned before on my channel, a very reasonably priced one, which is the L'Oreal Elvive Colour Protect Conditioner. I think this is a really great, very affordable conditioner. The bottle lasted me quite some time. It was an emergency purchase when I was up in Newcastle in June. I probably finished it, yeah, I must have finished it actually in November, because it was after my last empties, faves and fails. So it lasted me from June to November, which I think is pretty good. Really good product, protected my hair, looked after the colour, and I really recommend it. Now, just a couple more empties before we go on to makeup. And the first one is the Revitalash Advanced Eyelash Conditioner. Now, I finished this one, and I think, honestly, when I looked up to see when I bought it, it said 2023. So I do think that they are a little bit disingenuous, Revitalash, when they say that a lash serum only lasts 3 months, because this has lasted me, if I'm right, and that is when I bought it, because that's what Amazon's telling me, unless I bought another one somewhere else. This has lasted me a very long time. I've only literally repurchased about 2 weeks ago, and it really had come to the end of its life. So I think that if you are going to buy this, and it is very expensive, I know that, probably best to wait until the sales. It lasts for a very, very, very long time, and all you need is one swipe on each eyelash. On each eyelash? No, that wouldn't last very long, would it? On each eyelid, and it should last you a year, I would say. Anyway, really love the product. I know some people don't like the fact that it contains prostaglandins. That doesn't bother me. So I do really recommend Revitalash as an eyelash growth serum, or conditioner as it's called here. And the final skincare empty that I want to talk about is the Zip Halo Electric Complex Gel. Now, I've been using a Zip Halo for about 6 to 8 weeks, I think. And I've done a couple of videos where I've mentioned it. I haven't really talked about it improving my skin, because I don't know whether it has, and I'm not sure that I buy into the fact that it will improve my skin. In fact, my lovely friend Cindy, who I mentioned before, has done many reviews and results of using her Zip Halo, and she says, and I agree with this, that it just gives your skin an instant lift, but it's not a lasting lift. Now, I was gifted the Zip Halo and 3 gels, and this is the regular one, the least expensive of the 3, I think. And I think when you buy the Zip Halo, and I do have a discount code down below, by the way, I think when you buy this, you do get 1 gel with it, but they've got different grades of gels. Now, again, I'm not sure I buy into whether 1 gel is going to make a difference or more of a difference than another, but I have finished this gel. I'm now on to gel number 2, which I think is called the Silver Gel. And I'll tell you what I have found, actually. I don't need more than 2 pumps when I'm applying the Zip Halo to my skin after I've put the gel on. I literally need 2 pumps, whereas I'd read all sorts of things about you need 8 pumps or 6 pumps or 10 pumps. I only need 2. I mean, it may be because I've got a very small face, I don't know. But I only apply the gel where I'm going to use the Zip Halo. By the way, I'm talking about the Zip Halos if you've seen it. Many of you may not have seen it, and this is what it looks like. It's just a tiny little thing you can, well, tiny, it's a small thing you can hold in your hand. You turn it on, I'm not going to do that now, but you turn it on, and these little pads here, you just smooth over your face like this. It's really like having a treatment in a salon. That's what it's like, but you're doing it for yourself. I just do 2 minutes per side. I don't do any, I link it to the app, but I don't actually use the app for any treatments at the moment. I might do when I've got time, but at the moment, I literally just smooth it over my face like this. 2 minutes on this side, then it beeps. 2 minutes on the other side, then it beeps, and that's it. And I do this in the morning. I tend to do it 4 or 5 times a week, after I've had my shower sometimes, or before. I don't do anything to my skin beforehand. It's just the skin I've woken up with. So I apply the gel, do the treatment, then wash my face, or just wipe it actually, and then I'm good to go with my serums and moisturisers and SPFs and what have you. So the main reason I'm mentioning this is because I finished the gel, and I just wanted to let you know the gel probably lasted me about 6 to 8 weeks, as I say, but I probably could have made it last longer because I used too much and I didn't actually need as much. Now, the only fave I've got to recommend in skincare is the Biossance 100% Squalane facial oil. Now, this was gifted to me by my daughter, and honestly, it sat on my counter again. I didn't touch it because I just thought, what's a facial oil going to do for me? But since I've been using tretinoin and experiencing some time off where I've had to stop, where it's just been too rough for my skin's been too dry, I thought, well, actually, I wonder whether I could alternate the tretinoin with this. So that's what I've been doing over the last probably 3 weeks or so. I've been using tretinoin, say 3 times a week, and then buffering it with a moisturiser. And then on the nights when I'm not using it, I've been using this. And all I do is I put my hair out of my face. So after I've double cleansed, got all my makeup off, put my eyelash serum on, I then apply this all over my face and a little bit to my neck as well. Now, it is a bit oily, but it does rub into the skin. You don't really need very much. Let me just see if I can show you. It is quite runny, and you just massage it into your skin. And yes, it does take a little time to absorb, so you probably don't want to get under the covers straight away in case you oil up your sheets. You don't want that, or your pillows. But honestly, it does sink in, and I was a little bit worried about my fringe. I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to wake up with my fringe all greasy. But actually that doesn't happen at all. It's absolutely fine, and it does dry into the skin, and you wake up with a lovely soft complexion. And squalane is a great ingredient for our complexions. It's an emollient, it's a humectant, I think. I may have got that wrong, but I'll put on the screen what it does for us. And because it's 100% squalane, there's no other ingredients in it at all. There's no fragrance, there's no nothing. It's just a lovely, calming, soothing product to put on my skin when I'm not using tretinoin. Now, a very quick chat about fragrance. So I do have an empty, which is the Prisme Libre by YSL. Well, it's almost empty. There's a tiny weeny bit left. I think I bought this, just over a year ago. My husband bought it for me for Christmas. I think this was a Christmas 2023 present. And I absolutely loved it. I bought it on the recommendation of Risa Does Makeup. And because I love it so much, I thought I would try, when there was a sale on at Sephora, the intense version. And I think I actually prefer the intense version. Renee, I know you don't, but I think I do. And I think it might have something to do with the addition of the tonka bean as an ingredient, because my daughter bought me this, which is the Jo Loves Black Cashmeran and tonka. So both these fragrances have tonka bean in them. So I'm going to attempt to describe the fragrances to you. And although I am allergic to fragrance, I can have them on my skin for a little bit. So let me see if I can describe them to you and compare and contrast. It's interesting, they're not that dissimilar at all, actually. So the Prisme Libre Intense is warmer than the original Prisme Libre. This is warmer, this is a bit muskier. Oh my gosh, it's just so delicious. It smells very expensive. It smells almost oriental. It's absolutely beautiful. And the Jo Loves is a little bit sweeter, but it still has that intensity. I think there's something about with the Jo Loves, and maybe slightly with the Prisme Libre as well, that sort of Arabic market, that sort of souk, where all the perfumes of Araby would sweeten that little hand. Actually, I think I'm misquoting Macbeth terribly. But oh my gosh, I mean, yeah, they are both heavy, musky, intense fragrances that just make me feel so womanly, if I can say that. Right, that'll do, Des. Move on. Right, let's talk about makeup now. And we're going to start with some fails. Now, some of these fails are my own fault, and here's a case in point. So this is an Armani eye tint. And I bought a couple of eye tints from Armani a couple of years ago in France, and I thought I'd like to try a different shade. I don't know what I was thinking of. This is jet black. It's just ridiculous. I don't know why I even thought that it would be a good eye tint for me. I suppose I didn't realise that it was that dark. But who on earth is going to wear that shade? I mean, yes, you probably could wear it as an eyeliner, but as I'm trying not to wear very dark eyeliner and thick eyeliner anymore, it's completely wrong for me, so I'm going to have to declutter this. Now, the next couple of fails are mascaras, and the first one is this e.l.f. Lash Extender. I can't remember why I bought this. Maybe somebody had recommended it, but I thought it was awful. And it's interesting, I don't know why it didn't work for me, because the brush is actually very much like the Maybelline Sky High, which I've recently repurchased and I'm wearing this very day. But this just didn't work for me at all. And I do like some e.l.f. mascaras, but this just didn't work at all. No good. And neither did this Chanel Irresistible mascara. I think probably because it's waterproof, and I definitely do not like waterproof mascaras. Again, it's that rubbery brush. It did absolutely nothing for my lashes and it was a massive fail. So again, I'm going to have to declutter this, unfortunately. Now, why I thought this shade of eye stick would suit me, I don't know. Look, it's incredibly pink. I mean, that's just not a flattering shade in anybody's book, is it really? So I'm not sure why I bought this, but that's definitely being decluttered. Now, this Melt and Shine, I think I got excited by this. I think it's Catrice. Yes, it is. Could I get anything out of it? It just won't turn. There's absolutely nothing coming out. I know some balm delivery systems, as it were, are not very good. Even the Victoria Beckham one's slightly strange, but this one's hopeless. You can't get any purchase out of it at all. You can press the bottom, see if you can get anything out of it. It pops up a tiny bit. But yeah, I'm hopeless really. And actually, I'm not sure I really like the colour either, so I think that's going to go. Now, I'm also going to declutter this Rumi Lush line, and it's not because it's no good, it's just because I feel uncomfortable using Rumi products, because I talked about them in a video I made about brands that target older women and are a little bit disingenuous when they talk about being a family firm, because this firm is not a family firm and I don't subscribe to that, so I don't feel comfortable using it, even though I'm sure it's a very nice product. So that's going to be decluttered as well. And then this little e.l.f. retractable pencil, I put it on the list, and I think again it's probably one of my mistakes. It's too dark for me. I can't remember why I've put it in the pile now, but I think it's just because I'm not using very dark eyeliners anymore, so I'm going to declutter this. I've got enough of them as it is, and I think because it's so new, it'll be actually quite nice for someone who does like a dark eyeliner to use it. And actually another e.l.f. product that I shouldn't have bought, and again, I think it's because I'm clutching at straws sometimes when I'm trying to find products in a particular genre, as it were, a particular type of product that doesn't have fragrance, and I get all excited. I think this was a lip tint, which doesn't have fragrance, but the colour just didn't suit me. It was something and nothing really, or Somerton Note, as they say in Newark. That's not Newark, New Jersey. That's Newark, Nottinghamshire. It really didn't do anything for me, so I'm going to declutter that as well. Right, now we can talk about products I do like or love, but they've come to the end of their useful life because they really are past their use-by date. And the first one is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have it in the shade Light Medium. I'll just swatch it for you. I think this works really well as a primer, but it also works beautifully as a highlighter, and it's only going in the bin because it's past its use-by date. Now, the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Foundation, I bought this very early on in my channel, and being in London, I was able to get hold of the shade cards and do a video, which was the first video that got me, I think, 300 subscribers. So it was in the autumn, I think it must have been November 2021, and it gave me a huge spike for me because I'd only got about 40 or 50 subscribers until then, so that was really great. Now, I've had this foundation since about then, which is a bit too long for any foundation, isn't it, really? But I feel a little bit ambivalent about it because I did then go on to buy another shade about a year later, so again, probably should be getting rid of that one. Now, the shade was fine. I think it worked well for me. I took a 14. And this is how it looks on my skin. Let me blend it in a bit. But I did find that it was a little bit hard to blend actually on my skin. It wasn't very forgiving. It didn't move very easily. Not like, say, the Hourglass or the e.l.f., my two current foundation faves. yes, it smooths the skin out a little bit, and actually, funnily enough, it doesn't feel too bad today. I don't know if it's because it's actually oxidized and gone bad. I mean, you would have thought so after all this time, because you're only supposed to keep it for, I think, 6 months or a year. But it's very difficult when you're testing foundations to actually empty a foundation. The only one I've emptied, I think, in the recent past, the Hourglass Soft Glow. So would I recommend this? I don't know, probably not at the moment, because I think for me the Hourglass is better. In fact, with Lisa Eldridge skin products, I don't adore the Seamless Skin tint either. I know some people rave about it, but for me it's a bit too thin. And I know some people mix the foundation with the skin tint, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but I don't think I could recommend the foundation, not really, not from the heart. Now, a quick mention of the L'Oreal Lash Primer, which I absolutely love, and I finished this. I'm going to repurchase. I haven't yet, but I will do. I think this is a great affordable lash primer. Now, someone asked me in the comments recently, why would you bother with a lash primer? And I think the answer is it does, for me, make my lashes thicker. So when I apply mascara on the top, it gives it that extra va-va-voom, that extra thickness, because although my lashes are long, they're not thick, and I really crave that thickness. And I'll zoom you in, and let me zoom you in just to show you what I mean about a primer. Now, I'm not actually wearing this one today because I've run out. I'm using the Dior, which is very expensive, but they both are much of a muchness, I would say. The only difference is this is a bristle brush and the Dior, I think, is a rubber brush. But can you see how lovely and thick, well, for me anyway, my lashes are? If you've watched my channel before, you'll know what they look like before I apply any mascara. And I really do think the lash primer just gives that extra thickness, that extra va-va-voom, for want of a better expression, that I want from a mascara application. And talking of mascaras, this Fenty Beauty Hella Thick mascara, I've now finished it and I will definitely repurchase it at some point. Although I'm going to insert a picture of the number of mascaras I actually own at the moment, and it is ridiculous. I'm never going to get through them all. It's just crazy, but there you go. But I absolutely love this. It's got a really interesting brush. Well, interesting. Can a brush be interesting? I don't know. But it's kind of a mixture of being the Christmas tree style bristle brush and a rubber brush, because it is actually very fine. But it really does give the intensity of blackness and thickness and volume that I really like. And finally, another Fenty product, and that is the Fenty Beauty We're Even Concealer, which I've actually got in 2 shades. Now, I am trying all sorts of concealers. Again, I've got an absolute bucket full of concealers at the moment, which I am going to be trialing. I haven't found the perfect concealer, but I did really like these. And I bought the product in 2 shades because I found the shades quite difficult to choose. I think the only way to really choose the right shade is to go into the store, because I think the cards on the website are quite misleading. And so I ended up getting a darker one, I think. No, did I get the darker one or the lighter one first? I think maybe the darker one first, and then I got a lighter one. I could kind of mix the two. But they are really great, and I'll just swatch them for you and put on the screen what shades I'm in. I like the slightly angled doe foot as well, which I think is quite good. That's the paler one. I think that's a cool one and one's a neutral. There, you can see the difference in lightness and darkness, as it were. I mean, again, choosing concealer shades is an issue anyway, because you never know what they're going to actually look like under your eyes, do you? So it is really quite difficult, but I did really enjoy using these. There is a little bit more product left, but again, they've come to the end of their useful life. Now, let's talk about more mundane matters. I was persuaded to buy by a channel that focuses on cleaning. Is this Dawn Platinum Plus Power Wash. Now, maybe I misunderstood what this was for. This is actually meant to be for washing your dishes. And honestly, do we wash that many dishes these days? No, we tend to use our dishwashers if we've got one. But yes, there might be an occasion when we want to clean a pan or something by hand. So I thought, well, I'd get this. And it says 5 times faster grease cleaning. Anyway, so far, I'm not finding this at all helpful. First of all, I find this nozzle really difficult to use. This is really hard, this thing to press, this kind of handle, whatever it is, to press down on. It's really, see, you have to press down quite hard to get anything out of it. Anyway, not really finding much use for this at all. And I think I was interested in it because it's an American brand, I think. It's not so easy to get hold of here, where you can get hold of it via Amazon. But yes, I'm not really sure that, perhaps I should have thought more carefully about what it actually was for, because I think I thought you could clean surfaces with it, which I suppose you could, but anyway, not terribly impressed with this. But let me know in the comments whether you've tried it and what you think. The other one I was really disappointed with is this Folex Instant Carpet Spot Remover, which is probably fine if you've just dropped some red wine on your lovely new carpet and you need to clean it up straight away. But if you've got stains that have been around for quite some time, like I have, this is not going to do the bizzo at all, unfortunately. And that's what I thought it would do. I thought it could get dried on stains off your carpet, but it can't. Now let's talk about a product that I bought that I absolutely love, also from Amazon. And when you see what I'm talking about, you probably think, of course we know these, we've been using them for years. And they are battery operated candles. If I say they've changed my life, that might be a slight exaggeration, but honestly, in these dark evenings and mornings, I have absolutely loved turning on these candles. They have such a calming effect on me. And as you can see, I've got some going in the background. So I actually bought 6. My husband sneered at them a bit when I brought them home. I think he thought, what are these? Because if you look at them like this, you think, what on earth is that? How is that going to look like a candle? But when you turn it on, look at that. It is absolutely gorgeous. It gives you that calming, relaxing effect that a waving flame does. I mean, it's like I'm a moth drawn to it. I absolutely love watching these. I've got these ones downstairs in my living room, and I have them on the coffee table when I'm sitting watching TV or just lying around, and I absolutely love them. I've got this set of 3 and this is another set of 3. They're exactly the same, but I'm going to try and find some tall tapered ones that I can put in some candlesticks as well. But I just think they're a wonderful, wonderful creation, and I'm so pleased I discovered them. Now let's talk about clothes, and I've got some faves and a fail. Now my faves are this fantastic mango coat. Now I came across this coat in 2 ways. One was from my daughter because she had the brown one, and then also watching Emma Hill, who's one of my favourite YouTubers, and I love her fashion aesthetic. And it took me quite a while to hunt it down because it was often sold out online. So I signed up to the email alert, and I did eventually get an alert and I ordered it, but I ordered it in an extra small because it said it came up quite large. But the extra small was too small. It was just a little bit tight around the hips, although it was okay on the shoulders. So then when I went back to try and get a small, they were out of stock. So I went in, I did sign up again for the emails, but in the meantime, I went into a Mango near me, which is in Brent Cross in this shopping mall. And it was a bit of a mess, to be honest, and the staff didn't seem to know whether they had it or not. But I did do a good route around and I found it. I was so delighted. So I've got it in a black, in a small, and it's so good. Now it is unlined, but that is actually perfect for someone who travels by tube or sits in the car with a coat on, because it's not too heavy and it means you can layer things underneath. So I'm absolutely loving it. It's really good quality as well. It's beautifully cut and I'm really delighted with it. And another Mango purchase I'm really delighted with are these leather boots. Now I found these boots on Mary Madan's channel, and she's another fashion YouTuber with a small following, but I really think she's got a lot of really valuable content on there because she focuses on brands, generally speaking, that are mid-priced, I would say, including Quince. Actually, she really likes Quince. In fact, her recent video, she talks a lot about Quince, but she also talks about COS and Mango. And I absolutely love these boots. They were in the sale. They were £55, and I haven't owned any leather boots for a long time. They're beautifully soft. I just need to work out how to style them really well, because I think with regular jeans, they're not quite right. They can look a bit dowdy, but I think with the dress, they look great. And I think with the skirt, they would look great. So I'm going to practice styling them with other items in my wardrobe. So do look out for that video, which will be coming soon. And then onto the COS dress. Oh my gosh, I'm so delighted with this dress. I absolutely love it. It was half price in the sale. I think it's still available. I bought it last minute for the wedding that I'd been talking about. where I was modelling a few of those dresses, including the red one, but it turned out the wedding was so tiny. There were just the 4 of us at the registry office, and the red dress just felt a little bit over the top. So at the last minute, I managed to bag this COS dress, which is a little bit more low-key. It's patterned as well, which again is a new departure for me, but it's a nice low-key pattern. The dress is so super comfortable and soft. It feels like silk, and I think it absolutely worked so well for the wedding. And I felt like an appropriate wedding guest in it. But I think you could wear it for all sorts of things. You could actually wear it for work. You can wear it out to dinner. It's comfortable, it's soft. You can wear your base layer underneath. And I think it's just an all-round great dress. And finally, I want to talk about this hoodie. Now, I have talked about these before, but I bought this in a new colour in the sale. So I think it was about £3 off. They're around about £23 to £25 from Marks and Spencer's. I know you won't be able to get these in the US and probably other territories as well. But I do think Quince have some similar ones, so I'm going to link them down below for you if I can find them. The material is called Air Yarn, but it's basically a polyester composition, but it's so soft, it really feels comfortable. You can layer things underneath. I wear these every night after I've finished work. This is what I put on, but also in the daytime if I'm going out to the shops. And as you can see, it even looks okay with the coat on top. And I mentioned these in my traveling to the States video. I think it was my packing video. And I did decide to wear one of these when I was traveling. And I think I probably will again when I go to France in a couple of weeks. So really love this hoodie. And if you can get hold of it, I highly recommend it. It's just great for lounging around or popping to the shops. And finally, let's get on to entertainment. And a fave has been What I Ate in a Year by Stanley Tucci, which I'm listening to on audiobook. Now, Stanley Tucci, I mean, I knew who he was, but I wasn't that familiar with any of the films that he was in, although I think tonight we're going to watch Conclave, which he's in with Ralph Fiennes, and really looking forward to watching that. But I knew his face. I knew he lived over here now because he was widowed, and then he got married to Emily Blunt's sister, Felicity Blunt, who's a literary agent here in the UK. But I didn't really know that much about him. He was one of those actors that sort of popped up in lots of different films, but I'm not sure he had that many leading roles. I don't know. Anyway, so I didn't know all that much about him, but it came up in my audiobook recommendation, so I thought, well, let's give it a go, and I'm really enjoying it. He is funny. He's also quite a name dropper, which I can relate to because although I'm not a celebrity in any shape or form, I did hobnob with celebrities as a child, so I can always connect myself to a celebrity if asked. I can usually find a bit like Kevin Bishop, Kevin Spacey, Kevin... Oh my gosh, what's that Kevin? I can't even remember his name. What's happening to me? Anyway, you know the Kevin I mean. There used to be this game, How Many Steps Did It Take You to Get to Kevin Bacon? That's him, Kevin Bacon. The Kevin Bacon game, I think it was called. So, for example, I met Charlton Heston when I was about 10 on a film set because my mum was in a film with him. Or who's another big one? Oh, Kirk Douglas came to our house. That's right, because Kirk Douglas and my mum acted together in The Vikings. So I can connect myself in that way to celebrities, but I don't know them and I've never worked with them or anything like that. Sadly, most of them are dead anyway, those old ones, because they were my mum's generation. So I can relate to the name dropping, and I did find it funny. But he does send himself up, although he takes himself quite seriously, as I'm sure he should, but he can also send himself up as well, and I found that very endearing. Now, I really tried to read a physical book in these last couple of months, and I tried Curtis Sittenfeld, and it's called Romantic Comedy. Now, I'm afraid I only got to about page 60 because although I have read Curtis Sittenfeld novels before, and I particularly like the one, I think it was called American Wife, which he based on George W. Bush's wife, whose name escapes me at the moment. And I really enjoyed that book. I thought it was excellent. It was really interesting about family dynamics, about politics, all of that. I really enjoyed it. But this, I'm afraid, I don't know whether it's my age, because I am 70 now. I just couldn't, I mean, you don't have to relate to characters in books. Obviously, you don't have to do that in order to enjoy them. But I just didn't enjoy, maybe it was the style I didn't like. So it's about a young woman in her mid-30s who works on a show which is meant to be like Saturday Night Live. Now, we don't have that in the UK. We don't really have any shows like that. We used to years ago in the 80s, but we don't anymore. So there is that sort of understanding of about the writer's room, which we do have writer's rooms here, but not in the same way that they do in the States. So I didn't really understand all the dynamics of that, although she does try and explain it. But I wasn't really that interested in it, to be honest. And also, because the characters are in their mid-30s, most of them, they have expressions that they use and relationships that they have and the way they live their lives. I just didn't find it relatable. And like I say, you don't have to find it relatable, but there were long descriptions about discussions in the writer's room between two people and all of that. I mean, ultimately, from the blurb at the back of the book, this is meant to be about a young woman who's looking for a relationship and is annoyed with the fact that one of her good friends, who's a bloke who she works with, who's not particularly attractive and does all sorts of unpleasant things in her presence. Unpleasant, I mean just things like probably picks his nose or farts or that sort of thing. And yet he's got this amazingly beautiful and successful girlfriend, and she thinks, well, why can't the same happen to me? And then some guy comes, who's a well-known singer, comes to be a guest on the show, and I assume some relationship's going to develop with them, but I didn't really find him that interesting, this singer that comes to the show. So I just got bored with it, and I just thought, I'm not going to waste my time anymore with it. I don't see the need to finish it. It's not like it's a great literary piece that I need to have read. So I'm afraid this was a fail for me. And another one that was a fail for me, and I'm sorry about this, it's called Middlesex. It won the Pulitzer Prize. A friend recommended it. I gave it about 10 pages and I just thought, what is this about? Do I give a stuff? And the answer was no. I suppose what I don't have patience with is literary writing that goes all over the place. I like a narrative. I probably wouldn't get on with Ulysses. I've never tried reading it, but I probably wouldn't get on with it. I'm not interested in stream of consciousness kind of writing. I'm really not. It's not something that tickles my fancy. And I think this was a bit stream of consciousness to begin with, and it dealt with transgender issues, which frankly I'm not that interested in. Well, I am interested in them, actually, that's a lie. I am interested in them, and I did actually read a really interesting book, which I did talk about in one of my faves and fails. I think it might have been my last one, which was called, I've forgotten the name of it, but it was by Susan Faludi, and that was about her father, well, partly about her father who transitioned, but it was more about his whole life and being a Hungarian in America and then back in Hungary again. But this was just not my cup of tea at all. But do let me know in the comments, have you read it? Would you read it? It won the Pulitzer Prize, so it's obviously done very well and very highly thought of. But I just couldn't get past the first 10 pages or so. Now let's talk about films. And a film that I rewatched with my husband, who'd never seen it, was Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We were scrabbling around over the Christmas period trying to find films to watch, and I bought Monty Python and the Holy Grail on YouTube years ago because it's one of those films I like to pop in and watch now and again. And he'd never seen it, so I thought, great, let's pop that on. And honestly, it's as fresh and as funny as it was in the mid-70s when I first saw it at the ABC Fulham Road. Those of you of my generation in London will know where I mean, I'm sure. It's joyous, it's historically correct in some respects. So for example, the bit where the knight gets thrashed to bits with a sword. I actually studied medieval French history when I was at university, and the Song of Roland, or the Chanson de Roland, has a scene very much like that, where a knight is thrashed even without any of his limbs. He's still fighting. I will say it's a little bit sexist because it was made in the mid-70s, as was MASH. Actually, if you watch MASH again, that was quite sexist, but a lot of films were. But I still really enjoyed it, and we both found it hilarious. The Knights of Ni are a particular favourite. Let me know in the comments if you've watched it. And another film we just happened to turn on over Christmas was the original Great Expectations, directed by David Lean. Oh, it's so good. I don't think I'd watched it the whole way through before, but I really enjoyed it, and we both did. It's very atmospheric. Of course, it's a classic book by Dickens, who I've never really read, but don't tell anyone. But I love the adaptations of his books, and I'm going to come on to another one in a moment, but really enjoyed that film. So if you're looking for a couple of old films to watch and you can find them somewhere on your platforms, I highly recommend them both. Now, a film that we did watch that was fairly new that we didn't enjoy was called The Critic. It's got some great stars. It's got Leslie Manville, it's got Ian McKellen, it's got, oh, what's that actress called? I've forgotten her name now. Anyway, it's got two great stars plus, oh, Gemma Arterton, that's right, Gemma Arterton, who I'm a little bit ambivalent about. I'm not sure I think she's that great, actually. But anyway, she was in it. It was really quite an unpleasant film. It's about a critic, a theatre critic, who criticises a young actress who's doing quite well, but his criticisms are quite venomous. He's quite a venomous, unpleasant person, actually. And she gets very upset about this, and it's about their relationship and what happens to the critic and what happens to her and her relationship with the proprietor of the newspaper that the critic works for. I won't give too much away, but I found it really unpleasant. Let me know in the comments if you've watched it. I just didn't see the point of it. I didn't think the story was particularly entertaining. Oh, and Mark Strong's in it, who I will be mentioning again in a moment. So I didn't really see the point of it. Obviously the stars must have thought that the script was good, but as often happens, scripts can change during the filming, and I think they just went off the boil. Maybe the original script was good, but this was quite poor, I thought, and really quite unpleasant actually, so can't recommend that. But talking of both Mark Strong and Lesley Manville, I went to the theatre and I've seen 2 productions recently. So the first one was Oedipus. Now I knew the very basic story, which was Oedipus kills his father and marries his mother, but that's about all I knew in terms of the Greek myth. So I thought it'd be really interesting to see this play, which is a modern take on it, and because it starred these 2 fantastic actors, I really wanted to go and see it. And I do often go to see the theatre when I see an actor or an actress that I really want to see live, like I did when I went to see Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick last year, who were in Plaza Suite, because the play was a bit rubbish, but they were fantastic in it. Anyway, I managed to drag my husband along. He wasn't very keen, but he did come. And it was beautifully acted and very well dramatised. I mean, yes, the story is obviously a bit far-fetched, but the way it was developed and modernised I thought was really clever. I think it's finished now, but as a modern production, I do think it was good. And if you happen to see that modern production, and I've forgotten the name of the director now, but I will link the details down below for you. If you happen to come across that production, I do think it's worth watching because it was very inventive and extremely well acted and very moving as well, very moving. Now, to mention another Dickens production, I took my daughter and grandson to see Oliver in the theatre last week. Now, I've seen a lot of productions of Oliver. I absolutely love the musical. I love all the songs. I saw the original production when I was about 6 and we had the record. I played it to death because that was pre-Beatles. So I wasn't into pop music then. I was into musicals and ballet music actually. And I played that Oliver record to death. I knew all the songs inside out. I knew all the cast. Absolutely loved it. Since then, I've seen many productions, including Barry Humphries, who in the original production in the 60s played Mr. Sowerberry. In one of the productions I saw, he actually played Fagin, and he was really good. But this production, yes, it was in a smaller theatre, and the sets were very good, but honestly, the acting wasn't great. The sound was a little bit tinny because, of course, they're all mic'd up now, and I didn't think the sound was brilliant. Nancy was probably the best in the production. She had a great voice. Fagin was far too young, and he was kind of knowing. That's what annoyed me. It was sort of like, yes, I'm Jewish, and here's some Jewishy style music in the background. He sort of almost nodded to the audience or nodded to the band at one point to say, yes, all right already, play the Jewish music. And I just thought that's so unnecessary, just keep in character. And so consequently, I just didn't enjoy the show anywhere near as much as I was hoping to. And finally, just to mention a couple of content creators that I think you should take a look at. And the first is Kalonda Casey, who I have mentioned briefly before on my channel. Now, she does a lot of makeup videos and does fashion and even cooking videos as well. She's so warm, she's so relatable, she's in her mid-60s. She's just an all-round lovely person, and I really enjoy watching her videos, and she's just actually done one on the Pantone colour of the year, which I think is Mocha or Mocha Mousse. That's it, Mocha Mousse. So really recommend watching that. It's a lovely video and she's just an all-round lovely content creator. And the other content creator I want to mention is Mel C. No, not that Mel C. This is the Mel C who does makeup, who's in her mid-50s, lives in Canada, and she does a lot of demonstrations of products. She mostly focuses on affordable products, but she does do other higher end products as well, and it's nearly all makeup. And again, she's just a lovely person. She's got a warm, friendly personality, and I really enjoy watching her videos. And finally, I just want to mention a video that I watched, which was quite unexpected for me. So over the Christmas period, my grandson and my daughter came to stay. It was in early December actually, so just before Christmas. And because they came to stay, my grandson wanted to watch some videos. So he wanted to watch Mr. Beast, who I had heard of. I'd never watched before. So we actually watched a whole 2 videos of Mr. Beast. And I have to say, it was quite entertaining. It's not somewhere I would go, and I'm not recommending it at all. But I thought it was interesting because he's got over 300 million followers on YouTube. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. And the videos we watched were fine. So one of them was him in a locked room, being kept in a locked room as if he were a prisoner in solitary confinement, and how he managed over the week. And the second one was him and a team of friends going to some desolate place with some rundown building that I think they were going to have to renovate. So his videos do seem to be challenge-based videos, challenging himself to do something or challenging his team to do something. But I just thought I'd mention him in case you'd wondered who he was and what he was. And that's what he is. So we've reached the end of the video. I hope you're still with me. Let me know in the comments. Put a little emoji, put a little tired emoji in the comments if you're still here. And do let me know in the comments whether you've tried any of these products or films or TV or content creators or anything I've talked about today. Have you tried them or would you try them? Do share your views in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And if you'd like to hear more from me, I have a monthly newsletter. And in that, I talk about all the stuff that I've just talked about today, but I do it before the video goes out, so you get first dibs. And thank you so much for watching. This year has been an amazing year for me, 2024. Well, it's 2025 now, but 2024 has seen my channel grow hugely. I cannot believe that we've got to over 20,000 subscribers. I started the year with just over 2,000, and thank you so much to all of you who've taken the trouble to subscribe. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I hope you're all doing really well and excited for 2025. And I will very much look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye.